When I first arrived to Tallinn, Estonia, I took a bus straight to the main train station and walked from there to the seaside. It's named Kalarand on the map. There's another mark as bench of comfort. I was very tired and sleepless after journey, and I wanted to be by the water, and especially by the Baltic Sea, which I feel a close connection to. Next stop was again main train station and Bautijama Turk market, which you wouldn't miss. It's right next to the main train station. I been reading on my train Tallinn to Tartu, regretting taking only one paper book because I finished it in one day. On my first day I went to explore Tartu, and my walk led me to Tommy Hill Park and Tartu Old Cathedral specifically. It is one of the few examples of medieval architecture which survived in Tartu, built in 13th century, having a very long, complicated history of multiple invasions, and I was fascinated by its history. You could see a lot of texts being displayed there. The wind lifted and carried sand from the ground, creating a very unique atmosphere, helping me to feel almost the breath of the past. I tried to film overview of some Tartu streets. My next point was Tartu Old Observatory. I have a deep interest in astronomy and astrophysics. I couldn't miss that. When I walked in, I was so mesmerized and happy, and I also had the whole museum of observatory to myself on this very hot afternoon, and I spent hours and hours there reading all the texts, taking a closer look to all the objects and exponents there. The observatory was active from very beginning of 19th century to 1964. Who was the first female astronomer? It was William Herschel's sister Caroline. She is famous for discovering several comets. Herschel himself started as a musician. What can be more beautiful? Music and astronomy. This, I believe, is a calendar of observatory. I think Torni means tower in Estonia. There was visualization of constellations made in late 20th century by students. Here I am, excited but also tired from the heat. It was a very, very warm day, end of May in Tartu. In the basement there was a seismology room, which is like an educational room for children where they have maybe different workshops and lectures. Perhaps it's a part of astronomy club, which I would love to be a part of if I would be a kid now. The last step is the actual tower of observatory with a Zeiss lens telescope, and the main feature of the tower is that it could have been rotated by hand. A lot of astrophysicists from the whole world would visit Tartu Observatory. It was one of the world's important center of astronomy, and it is part of UNESCO's Struve Geodic Arc, project started by the scientist Friedrich Georg Wilhelm von Struve to measure the meridian arc in terms to understand better the exact size and shape of the Earth. So it's starting from the northern point of Norway and goes back to the Black Sea, with the points which have a similar longitude. I continued to the center of Tartu and had a short walk around the city. It felt like spring, despite of end of May, everything was still in bloom. Here I'm finally at the destination of my whole trip. TYPA is a printing and paper arts center which hosted the annual conference of Association of European Printing Museums. And here we have an introduction of TYPA, starting with making paper from the scratch by hand. According to TYPA members, during the communist era of Soviet occupation of Estonia, there was a lot of books printed, and there is a lot of paper to recycle. We've been told that Estonia back then was importing a lot of presses from Germany. Believe this is one of them.
So I believe for some time, like I had
A universal rapid named after its fast split. This one acts like a guillotine and can cut book spines. As mentioned earlier, in Soviet times, Estonia had too many books printed without regard of demand, and TYPA is turning them into unique objects, and the paper sent into Rapina paper factory. And here is the bookshop, part of TYPA project named Fahrenheit 451, referring to famous Ray Bradbury novel, hosting all the books which were saved from being recycled. It's a second-hand bookshop and a wonderful place in Tartu. We also had introduction to TYPA collection of book specimens and different objects. Here is the specimen and printed by largest Estonian newspaper, Postimees. To me, it's very unusual how many colors they used to print it. Amazing linotype manual and all these designs. Just look at them. Amazing. I'm coming back to linotype manual. It's fascinating. We had linotype and monotype workshops. To me, it's especially fascinating to witness how monotype works. Shortly, the typecasting machines, with linotype casting the whole line of text and monotype casting each character individually. There was an exhibition of Ukrainian designer and calligrapher and art historian Alexei Chekal, and permanent beautiful collection of paper TYPA made of different plants, but also objects like face masks. We also printed the posters with a Czech studio answering question, what is future? I made future is unavoidable. Every day I've been walking to the conference through Tartu streets and try to capture them a bit. I fell in love with some houses and the whole feeling and atmosphere of Tartu. Fortunately, my time in Tartu was very short. At the very last day, we had a tour to Rapina paper factory, which is using recycled paper to produce paper. There were a lot of birdies flying around. I believe there's something they can find in these paper scratches. The temperature was very high and the smell was disgusting, but we were very interested in the process. This is a paper made out of money. I enjoyed the whole textures. And finally I met Ruby, TYPA Center cat. I'm very happy I could pet her. There was another exhibition opening by the artist Arne Messikap. And I met a second famous cat, a Gutenberg cat. Tartu is culture capital of Europe in 2024, and there are for sure overwhelming amount of exhibitions, cinemas, screenings to choose from. And I haven't visited even a little percentage of what I would love to if I could stay longer. But there are only 3 days of conference, and this is my last night in Tartu. I'm very grateful for this wonderful experience, and I hope to go back to Tartu, which I wholeheartedly recommend to do. Trying to see the glimpses of Baltic Sea and Estonian landscape from above. I'm back to Berlin and then on a train to Leipzig. Aita Huvasti. Thank you and goodbye.